I feel always this strong affinity to the introverts because I think most people would see me as an extrovert, a rum club founder, dancer, and all that. Like, oh, Andee is an extrovert. But deep down, I really need my space. So deep down, I recharge by being alone, just having a quiet space and being alone.
Welcome, Andy, to the Oka One World Family podcast.
Thanks for having me.
Thank you for being here. This podcast is what I like to call Ichigo Ichie, made in the moment, no preparation. We don't know each other almost at all. We only had a brief few minute conversation. So everything that will be said here today will be in the moment.
I like that. I really love that. Ready for the conversation.
Thank you. Let's challenge each other as much as we can. All right. Well, maybe my first question would be, who are you?
Oh, that's a loaded question. Oh, I don't really know how to like. I find this question sometimes really kind of challenging because I'm like, as much as I want to tell you everything about me, but then also at the same time, there's just so much to talk about. So maybe let's just start with the basics, right? My name is Andy. I go by he, him pronouns. I am born and raised in Singapore. I grew up as a dancer. So when I was very young, I started dancing at the age of 10. And I've always loved music, dance, arts, culture. I did dance since a young age, mainly in street dance. And then I grew up kind of thinking that I'll become a dance teacher or dance instructor, which I did for a while, sort of like when I was in school. And then I went to an art school here in Singapore where I did arts management, thinking that I'll become an artist, someone that working in the arts, but it didn't happen that way. Along the way, I went to do modeling. So I was modeling. I did modeling for about 3 years, which is really fun. It's a very unconventional route that a Singaporean would take to go into full time modeling because that's not really what our system, the system that we lived in here, encourages us to do. So, but then I'm really glad that I took that path to do modeling for 2 to 3 years full time. I was traveling around the world, doing all the crazy fashion weeks in Milan, Paris, New York. So I had a time of my life. But something in me just felt like that wasn't enough. I needed to challenge myself intellectually, and I felt like modeling didn't really give me that sense of fulfillment. So then I came back to Singapore, still kind of dabbling around in the media industry, but I eventually got myself into community building roles, in startups. Then I started working, and yeah, like fast forward, you know, here I am working in diversity and inclusion as my day job, and then on the side, I have a social run club that I built. It started from a social run club, and now it has become a community activation agency where we help brands and even do a lot of like community activation work. Yeah, so I guess that's in a nutshell. I can go on and on and on like about what I do, who am I, but let's just pause there and then let's see
Yes.
what questions you have.
No, yeah, you already brought up a lot of things. When I get asked this question, I have this, I draw right away my spiritual M. So I like to say I'm a spiritual being inhabiting this body, and I'm here to learn and develop and grow, and mostly about love.
Right.
Uh,
Yeah, so
it-
this question always makes me feel like, do I want to talk about what I do, like professionally, or who? I guess it's just a little bit hard. Like, I'm someone who loves to talk about spirituality, who I am really as a person deep down. But then often when someone asks me this question, I tend to think like, do I? Is it? This is the first question. Do I want to go that deep yet?
well,
But
no small talk here
yes,
today. Both of us are building community in our own way. And that is maybe the seed. And yeah, the seed, it goes down before it sprouts up. Maybe as a journey for depth and seeing that there is quite a way to go inside or below before we can go up. Tell me a little bit about the journey now. I know you're building this, you're helping people. Share a little bit about that, what you deeply care about and why you're doing what you're doing.
Yeah. So, I've built different communities over the decade, and when I was in dance, I built a dance community. When I was in tech and doing sort of community building work, I built a community for community builders. And then now I'm so into running, and then I was like, let's build a run club. And I see a pattern into why I've built all these different communities. It's really because I feel like at all these different phases in my life, I was looking around me, looking for a safe space, but I couldn't find one. And being a queer man myself, I know how important it is to be in an environment where I feel safe and I feel belong. And I feel, and I don't find that kind of spaces, I build it. And I'm not just build it for myself, but I think that it will benefit other people as well, like people looking for a safe and inclusive space where they can really bring their most authentic self to this environment. So yeah, like this run club that I built last year, August, how this all came about because, well, honestly, I'm not a runner. Like I don't consider myself a runner. I've not enjoyed running for the most part of my life until last year. And I got really inspired when I went to Taiwan and I joined a couple of run clubs there. And it was a very different experience. I've been to Taiwan many, many times. And when I went to the run club, it was the first time in many years that I got to meet friends, like new people. I'm in my mid 30s. I find it really hard to meet new people and make new friends at this age because I'm just so comfortable in my space. So, when that happened, I was like, oh, this is a really nice way of making new friends, going to a run club, enjoying something together, taking care of your health, and all that kind of stuff, right? So when I came back to Singapore, I was looking for something similar. And then I realized that, okay, there's
Mm-hmm.
so many run clubs here, but there's just something about them that I don't feel quite right. I don't know, maybe it's because of this very strong performance driven type of environment, which I'm not. Obviously, that's not how I like running. And then all it felt very alpha heterosexual energy, where I'm like, oh, as a queer person, I'm just like, oh, this is not, and entirely, it doesn't feel entirely me, and I don't think I can really be myself there. So that's why I wanted to build a running community that's focused on not just the running, but also focus on like fashion, focus on music, focus on arts, focus on the idea of coming together to build meaningful connections, friendships, and also a really queer friendly space where people can come and just be themselves. So that's how it all started. That's kind of the journey.
Is everyone invited?
Yes, everyone is invited. And it's interesting because I built it out of this pure intention. And then I think it came out in the messaging, the design, and the intentionality of the community. I always believe in the energy. I feel like this is the energy that I've invested in this community. It draws in the right people. And then, of course, people start coming, they start bringing their friends. And then organically, this community became something that I envisioned it to become. These people, I didn't handpick and curate or bring in different, or I didn't set limits. I just put the message out there. I invested this energy, and then the right people just walked in the door. And I've heard a lot of feedback about how this one stuck with me, especially because there was this lady who came and she said how safe she felt as a woman coming to a run club filled with, I would say, in the beginning, in the early days, we had more men, of course, right? But I think a lot of them are queer men. So women feel safe in this environment. They don't feel like they're being judged. And they can wear whatever they want to wear. Some of them comes in sports bra, tight leggings, and all that kind of stuff. And they perspire in it, and they don't feel that the men are judging them. They don't feel that the men are like eyeing them, which a
Mm.
lot of them feel this when they go to other run clubs with heterosexual men. So they're like, oh, this is something new to me. I didn't think of that in that angle when I started a run club. Then after that, we started seeing more women coming to our run club, and the ratio now is a 50-50 gender ratio. A lot of Gen Zs. Well, I'm not a Gen Z, but I'm like, how do we attract these people? And it's just really interesting how the community has evolved so organically. And yeah, this is why I was like, something must be right. Like something must be right that we've done here.
How do I sign up? Where do I go?
Come to Singapore. Follow us on our Instagram, offform.rc, and we post our run details on our Instagram. There's always a sign up link. We're always very intentional about our runs. So we don't just meet to run. There's usually an experience paired with the run. Because like I said, like it's not a performance driven sort of run club, it's more of a social run club. So there's always run and coffee. We meet at a cafe and then we do our run, we come back and then we have a social mingle. We have this series called Fashion Run, where we get everyone to dress up to a theme, being very intentional about coming for a run because like you feel good. You feel good when you're dressed up. We put on makeup, you wear a bandana, all that kind of stuff. Like, and then you come for a run on a Sunday at 8 a.m. and you feel like you've accomplished so much. It's just a really nice feeling when you have a lot of people come together with the same intention being set.
I love that. I'm when I come to Singapore, you're gonna get a phone call from me,
Yeah, you
and I'll come running with
always
you.
welcome.
Have you thought about there's the running, so togetherness? Obviously, there's some meditation when you run, so there's some going inside, or some maybe chit chat by people who can actually do both things at the same time. And have you thought about maybe like deepening between the people? I guess it's a lot of people. Some people know each other. Have you thought about other ways how people can deepen their relationships?
Yeah, I think it's really, well, of course, a lot of people that come to Run Club, there are different types of people that come to the Run Club. They are your extroverted people where they come here, they're like, I'm gonna go around the room, I'm gonna make friends, I'm gonna like talk to people. And there's also the very introverted, which I say would be most of them. The introverted people that come, maybe they just come alone. They're like after the run, they're like wandering around and looking around the room by the side. And I feel always this strong affinity to the introverts because I think most people would see me as an extrovert, a run club founder, dancer, and all that. Like, oh, Andee is an extrovert. But deep down, I really need my space. So deep down, I recharge by being alone, just having a quiet space and being alone. If I go to an event all by myself, I'm usually the one that pick up a glass and then I stand at the corner of the room, which is really weird. Which is really weird because I kind of find that when I put on this extroverted mode, it's when I'm at work. Being a founder run club, I feel this responsibility of being always on and always just like being the party of the room. But if I'm alone, I tend to be the one observing the surrounding and sort of analyzing it. So that's why when I see introverted people by the corner of the room, that's where I'll go to. And I feel like as what I really enjoy doing is to connect the dots. I see kind of community in a way where it's all about connecting the dots. And I think what I really want to do in this run club is having more of that ability to help people connect the dots. It's a little bit like giving them a nudge or being a matchmaker or whatever term you call that. But basically, if I know something about you, I know who you are as a person, I will be able to better introduce you to someone who shared similar beliefs, similar values, similar interests. And I guess that's the role of the community builder. I like doing that sort of like, oh, Liran, you should meet so and so, and I think you guys will hit it off, and then that connection happens.
Yeah.
Um,
So you like connecting
I
others as
love
well
connecting
there
people.
in
I love connecting people in an organic way, right? Not in a like forceful or
intruding
intruding.
way.
Yeah, exactly. I think when it comes up, when I'm like, oh, there is this energy that I'm sensing that some people come to the run club and they give off this energy that they want to be connected, they want to connect, but they just feel a bit lost, overwhelmed, and they're like, I don't really know how to start. And when I picked up the energy, I feel like that's the right time to do the connection. But then, of course, there's some people who come and they're like, nope, I I don't want to be connected. I don't want to talk to anyone today. I just want to come for a run and then get the energy. So I don't want to like force that connection to happen.
Yeah, just go with the flow. It's not easy for introverts to start just engaging in small talk. I feel that I'm also an extrovert, but only like into this like second period in my life, I start figuring out, oh, all this small talk, it's just people don't feel comfortable around it. But going directly and asking, okay, maybe my next question, how do you find love in your life? Or what challenges do you have with love? This is
Yeah.
this I'm getting there. This is not easy to also all of a sudden share. Sometimes it's nice to create a container
Yeah.
and making feel people safe, and you get to do that, I guess, through running and through having community of people doing the same thing, right? That's exciting, but not always just talking about something random with a lot of people around. That's actually, I don't think anybody feels that comfortable with that, right?
Yeah, like I love one-to-one conversations more than a big group of people and just like small talks, very like scratch on the surface type of conversation because sometimes I find that really exhausting. Like I'm talking, but I'm not actually getting any new information or anything that's deep. And I find that that's why I often, when I make connections, I often connect people on a one-to-one. And then of course like the small talks happen. I think that's just more of I think the small talk sometimes is necessary for you to kind of like test the vibe,
Warm up.
warm up, test the vibe, and like a little bit of build the trust because you're just forming a relationship. So I think in the stage of forming, the small talks are valid and pretty necessary, right? Of course, like you said, if you're going to say, "Oh, hi, my name's Andy," and then you start asking like really deep questions, people will be like, "Oh, wait a minute, I don't even know you." So, so I think the small talk sometimes are pretty necessary, and also like the way that people approach the small talks. Like I like doing some small talks with people that I just met, and I get a sensing like through the small talks, do they elaborate? Do they tend to share feelings, how they feel about certain things? And if I get a sense of like, oh, this person is talking about feelings, that's an opening. And when it's an opening, then I start asking deeper questions. So I think that small talk is more a way of like assessing the relationship or assessing that trust. Yeah, and like you said, deepening the connection because at work I build programs. At work I build programs for employees, and the goal is to deepen connections either from a work relationship standpoint or from a personal relationship standpoint. But I find that when there's a program and people join the program knowing the real intention of the program, there will be more willingness to open up and be ready for that, for what's coming.
Tell me a bit more about your work, about that. What happens there? Why is it happening?
Yeah, so I do diversity and inclusion work in a tech company, and we build employee resource groups, some sort of like a different communities at work. So we have communities for the queer people, we have communities for women, we have communities for the black minorities, we have like different communities for like disability families, for example, as well. So this when we build this different employee resource groups at work, it's really make these people feel safe and also to allow the allies to come and learn about different experiences that more marginalized groups of people would face in the day to day to really develop more compassion and to encourage inclusion, right? So from a program perspective, like we build different programs. For example, this program is all about strengthening relationships between allies and people from these communities. So people know that when they join this event, when they join this program, that's the goal. That's the intention. The intention is to deepen connections, is to build awareness. So before they even sign up, they know that this is what I'm walking into. And if you compare that with just people coming to a run club and you're like, oh, Liran, you should be Andee. They're like, what am I walking into? Like, what am I? It's an open book. But that's why, it's about like, oh, okay, I'm just gonna test it out. I'm just gonna see what's gonna happen, and then whether or not it becomes a relationship, we'll see. But a program is
Mm.
different because there's something that
Yeah.
they already know.
When I invite people to the program that I lead, the intention around it is to build this community of people that are doing things together in the world. And what we do is anywhere you can go in the world, you'll have a door open for you. If you need to stay somewhere, or if you want to go somewhere, you're not going to say, oh, where am I going to stay, in which hotel, or where is family?
Mm.
And that's a version. And so when I invite people to the workshop that I lead, I say, let's talk about all these things. But really, it's not about what we're talking about. It's the idea that there is time, kind of like we're having now, to deeply share, and time to deeply listen. And what happens from just that's, like you said, that sensation of feeling safe, it's always magic. So
Mm.
tell me a little bit more, like why you're doing this, what happens in the program, and if you want to use this time to also share and invite to others who may be listening in. What's the message?
Yeah, so we spend so much time at work. I mean, for people who are working in a corporate, right? They spend so much time working in a corporate and they
Yeah.
go to the office every day. Some people still do. If not, they spend a lot of time with their colleagues. Before I joined this company, I worked in other startups as well. And I was dating my boyfriend, now my husband back then. And we went out on the weekend and then I come to work on a Monday. And then my my colleagues will ask me, oh, what do you do over the weekend? And I'm like, oh, I've not really tell these people that I had a boyfriend. So I just said, oh no, I just went out with friends. And that feeling, I walked away from the conversation feeling like I didn't really feel good about that because I felt like I was kind of lying. I was lying about, I could have just said, oh, I went with my boyfriend, but I didn't really know if I could say that at work. I didn't really know if these people discriminate against gay people,
Or judge you?
judge
Yes.
me. I didn't know whether if my manager is homophobic. And there's a lot of what ifs. What if a manager is religious and is homophobic? Would I, by coming out, would that jeopardize my career growth? So there's a lot of what ifs. So I would be like, okay, you know what? I will save all the trouble and I will just lie. So then that doesn't really feel good. And the same thing, right? There's a lot of different examples. If I am a woman and I work in sales, for example, it is often very drilling, there's a lot of high pressure, and all of a sudden, I want to do family planning. I'm like, it's about time, anyone. I want to get pregnant. Well, again, you see, men don't face this problem because man doesn't get pregnant, but a woman does, right? So women does get pregnant, they have to go on a break, they have to take maternity leave. Would that jeopardize their career? Would they feel safe that they still have a job to come back to? So I think a lot of that, right? Like it's kind of interrelated to your life at work. Who can you actually be? So I think those things matters to me a lot because I know how it is to feel that sense of safety at work or not fully belonging to an environment. But the work that I do is to create those safe spaces and create policies to
Mm.
to protect, not just protect people, right, but also the awareness piece. For example, if today I were to come up to my manager and say, I'm married and I have a husband, how do your managers deal with it? And then if today I'm a woman and I'm pregnant, I have to tell my boss somehow, right? And do I feel safe going to my boss and say my boss is a man? How do I have this conversation? So a lot of the work that I do is to kind of create like awareness around that for people who are outside the community, but also for people in the community to how can they better show up at work. So I think it's just a lot of like there's a policy work, but there's also the work around the community.
Right. That's well explained.
Yeah.
I get it a lot more now. Yes.
So
Thank you. Well, I guess the feeling of safety is something that is very present for you, and we all need it. If you would have a one wish to fix something that is now maybe make people or yourself less safe,
mm.
what would that be?
I think also I just maybe give you more context, right? Like why do I love building communities? Why do I feel like that's why is safety so important to me?
Yeah.
Was because growing up I come from a family that I now thinking back, I think there are moments where there's a lot of moments that I didn't really feel very safe at home. I'm the only son. I have an older sister. So it's me, my older sister, and my mom and my dad, right? I think growing up, I've always felt that I was different, but I just couldn't put that into words. When I was rebellious, I was a bit different. I would say I was a bit quirky in the way I think. So I didn't really feel very belong or the kind of sense of belong. I always feel like I was the odd one out in the family. I always felt like when I was in school, I didn't really feel very understood or very heard or very seen. As a kid, the only two places that were supposed to feel safe is, you know, where you lived in, which is home, and school. Because there's the only two establishment that you kind of go back and forth, right? So this two establishment that I was in, this environment, I didn't really feel safe. So safety became a very, very important thing for me. And I think that's why, I'm always looking for a safety ground, a safety net. If I don't find that, I build something of my own. So I became very self-sufficient. Like I just built my own home in that sense. People that I could trust, people that I feel safe with. And that kind of grew on me as I get older and older. I started to want to build those environments for myself, but at the same time to invite people that go through the same go through the same situation that they they need a safe house, they need a safe space into my safe space, right? So that's how this whole idea of community building come about for me. Now I realized that from a lot of the inner work that I've been doing over the past few years, I would say like if people feel unsafe, what they can do is to find their community, find their people, what we call chosen family, because I've grown up knowing that sometimes I can't rely on my blood family for a lot of things. I tend to now always look out for people that I resonate with, that I feel relevant with, that I call them my chosen family. And I
Yes.
think that's important. Like people should, because I think a lot of people still feel strongly that, you know, they should rely on their blood family, their parents, their siblings for the sense of belonging. But I think people should realize that not all the time.
Only for a few
Yeah,
privileged
for a few
ones,
exactly.
this actually happens, right?
So I think it's all look out and look for your people because they do exist in this world. I think that's the way you feel safe in a world like that.
To me, it's more about how can you create trust? Because sometimes the feeling of safety, it's an illusion, right? And you don't know what are the intentions that are behind always a relationship. So much of the relationships that are coming in the world, there's maybe in a financial interest, sexual interest, or different hidden things. So I'm kind of always seeing how can I ask the right questions? How can I deepen? Because once we really know the inside of ourselves and the personal stuff, the subjective things, that then we could feel that layer of trust, which creates the real safety. And I think I've been part of a community and also build a community, and I saw how there wasn't real trust, right? So if you're just going to go run and have a good time together today, you're doing it maybe tomorrow. And maybe that's all there is, and that's also good. I'm always looking for how can we do things together. The entrepreneur inside me, how can we do things together? Where's the synergy? And I guess it comes from these conversations. How can we, if we already feel that trust and
Yeah.
that safety, what else is out there?
So I think the word trust and community, like these two words put together, I don't always feel like it's the trust between two people. I don't think it's just the trust between two people. And sometimes they these two people can just be like acquaintance. They don't have to be like best friends in order for that trust to happen. And I tell you why. Because, for example, if I were to meet someone on the streets today and we're completely strangers and we just have our small talks, blah blah blah, and then we realize that we're from the same school. We come from the same school. All of a sudden, immediately, I would be like, "Oh my god, you came from this school as well." The interest level for this person, or I guess the trust level. Okay, if you trust the school, I mean, if you trust the school, if you love your school, okay, all of a sudden the trust level for this person goes a little bit higher. And I just met this person, but we are from the same school, and I'm like, okay,
Because you went through something similar
yeah, I
together
believe so.
with
Like my mind tells me that I believe we went through something similar. I think you will understand what I'm saying. All of a sudden, right? Like without even knowing who you are, getting to know you better, you're not my best friend, but the trust in you goes up a little bit. And I say, and of course, this will only work if you trust the school, right? If you hate your school, you don't trust it. Like, oh my god, you come from that place, right? So I feel like when I build a community, I want to build a community with that intention that all the people that come, they trust the work that I do. They trust that this is a very intentional space. This is a very intentional community. The people that come are of the same caliber, of the same quality, and that there's some non-negotiable. If I sense that someone is coming in and they're like, okay, they're not our vibe, I'll ask them to leave, or I will be like, sorry, this is not for you. So if you actually go to
take
yeah,
responsibility.
if
Yes.
you go to our page on Instagram, the first thing that I pin on our page is to tell people who we are and who we are not, and who this community is for and who this community is not for. So I think it's just like very intentionally weave out people that are not the vibe. This is to protect the community and to protect the space because we say we are an inclusive space, we're a queer friendly space. We need to make sure that it is really truly queer friendly. So, like I said, we can have 100, 200, 300 people come to this community. Not everyone, of course, will know each other on that same depth and same level, but I think I can be confident to say, or I guess ideally, I would be want people to be like, oh, you go to that run club as well. Immediately, they're like, this person is queer friendly, and I can trust, and I can kind of trust you a little bit more.
Yeah, I like that. Tell me, what would be a fantasy, a dream that you have where this could potentially develop to? What would that be?
I'm also someone that doesn't like to make plans. I don't like to fix things I don't like to fix things too quickly. Since I love the flow and I love things just kind of evolving over time. Some things work, something doesn't. But I know deep down that there are some non-negotiable. So this community needs to be queer friendly. And when I say that, I mean like firstly, it has to be queer friendly, and second, like what I don't endorse is people coming into the run club and like fishing. Like when I say fishing, I mean looking for a date, or like they come,
Having
yeah,
agenda.
having an agenda of like I'm gonna come here and pick on the girls. I'm gonna come here and like have some sexual sort of agenda, because I think that's what some people do at the run club. They're like, oh, run clubs are the new Tinder. They're coming here to find a partner or find a sex date or whatever that is. Like I don't endorse that in a run club because I think it's important that people come here, they wear whatever they want and they feel safe. So yeah, like building the safety, I think that's really non-negotiable for us. And because we say we're queer friendly, we definitely attract a lot of queer people. So we want to make sure that people are respectful of the space that they're in. And then the third thing is just fashion. We want people to dress up when they come for the run. Like put some intentionality
It's so much fun.
into dressing up. Like not because the thing about Singaporean men especially, it's all about convenience. So they will definitely wear their pajamas and like come for a run. And that's not what we want. We want to put in effort and intentionality into like what they're wearing. Not because we like pretty people, but like you don't have to. You can come in all shapes and size, whatever. But like the idea of dressing up, that's really important for us. So I think there's like some non-negotiable, but exactly what the content is, like free flow.
Free flow. That's the dream. Kind of like what we're doing now, right? So you don't know where it's taking you, but it's a flow.
Yeah,
Maybe they can wear their moods.
I like that. I actually really
That's
like that.
yeah, yeah. It's good to dream, to have new ideas. You never know where it could go.
Yeah,
And there's definitely a lot of talented people. Wherever I see or meet people from different queer communities from around the world where I've been, there's always many talented people. People are into the doing, into the making, and it's exciting. And so, yeah, finding synergy between the people and when they do feel that safe space, that's where the magic
yeah,
happens. How many people are in the community today, or what's like, tell me a little bit, how does it work?
yeah,
Who's coming for a run? Yeah.
yeah. So online we have about 4,000 members. We do almost weekly Sunday morning runs at 8 a.m. We usually get about 80 to 150 people come to our runs.
Wow. Yeah. It's a
Um,
lot of people.
and there are the regulars that come week on week, but also every week there's, I would say, 20 to 30% newcomers because they just find out from us on
Yes.
Instagram, or people just bring their friends along.
Word to mouth.
So yeah, like it's growing organically.
Beautiful. Well, after listening to this, I think I'm going to go for a run.
Love
But
that.
something that I'm missing here, I'm in Thailand right now, and I want to go out for a run right now, and I'm missing the better sidewalks, the designated places. Singapore is so awesome in the way the infrastructure is set up.
Yeah.
So I'm gonna come visit you
Yes.
sometime soon. Yeah. We discussed a little bit about community building. It's the Run Club. How did you come up with the name?
That's also an interesting one. You know, like well, the name is called Off Form, which, it's a really weird name for a run club because, like, you're supposed to run, any workout, you're like, the form is always important, right? Because you're getting injuries and all that kind of stuff. And I was thinking along that line, but then I'm like, there's just something about that doesn't sit with me. Because I'm just like, as a kid, I just always feel like I'm, out of the norm. Even the path that I take, kind of professionally, doing arts, doing music, being a dancer. After I graduated, I would do modeling. Like all of that in the Singapore system is very off. It's like you're off the chart. You are out of the box. And I guess that's how I lead my life. I don't really like to conform to the system, or I don't like to conform to the norm. So I was thinking more around that, trying to go off the chart, trying to go, this is, if you're telling me about form, I'm going to go the other way. So I'm just like, it's also a bit of like a rebellious type of mentality. And I've always felt like a misfit in different environments that I go in. So that's how the name was born. Like I wanted to not just build a run club, but I want to put it into the name, calling it off form. And I think ultimately it's a movement that it's okay to break, to keep dreaming, break some boundaries, get out of the box, think differently, and not conform, break free. That's kind of the
Yeah.
pitch. And then, like again, like running, if someone call themselves a runner, they will usually go for, they'll aim to do a half marathon and they go for marathon and then they'll do all this like crazy, like performance driven. They'll track their pacing, they'll like, how fast do I run? How long do I run? I'm like, come on, that's boring. Let's do something fun.
So boring. I
Let's
agree.
more, let's, marry like running with like coffee rave. Let's do like ice bath or like, I don't know, fashion, like arts, like, all that kind of stuff. Let's do everything that people normally would not associate running with. Let's do all of that because I feel like that's just cool and fun, like just a very different experience. And always people like to say like Singapore is boring, it's small, there's nothing to do here. And every time when I hear that, I'm like, that's not true. Like we have a lot of interesting stuff. Like we have a lot of kind of out of the box type of events going on every week. Just that people don't find out about them. And like a part of me like want to do those events and do those crazy stuff that's a bit out of the box. So yeah, I guess it's kind of how the name come about. There's a lot of branding work that goes into it. Again, like it's not just name, but there's a lot of intentionality behind it. And yeah, I just hope that it's able to like stick with people because it's kind of a bit like going against the current. But I guess that's kind of life and my life, and there's a bit more about me in the name itself.
Thank you. Yeah. What do you think? What would happen when this grows? What happens if this doubles, triples, and there's so many people? What do you imagine? How would that evolution go?
I don't know, but okay, honestly, like we started out in August as just a social run club. Like I told you, like I can't find something similar, so I that I've experienced in Taiwan, so I built something on my own, and it just all started from there. And now, 8 months down the road, I've actually already incorporated our form as a business entity. So I can say that I'm an entrepreneur since February this year. So we're actually building our form into more than a social run club. It is a community activation agency focused around community marketing and brand activations for different brands. And because we are not just a sports club, like the brands that we work with don't just limit us to sports brand. Like it can be a lifestyle brand, it can be anything. The more quirky, the more unexpected, the better. Because that's what our form is about. And I think that's kind of what we're building as well, like helping brands get in touch with community building, helping brands think about community activations. So that I guess that's what we've already started doing.
Yeah. I love it. That could go to so many directions.
Yeah,
I'm
there's
just
so many
thinking,
things, and we are also dabbling the fashion. Like we print our own merch. Like we're collaborating with different brands to come up with like limited drops of merch. I'm also doing like consultancy work. I'm helping some brands, companies build communities. So instead of building communities for them, I teach them how to build communities. Because I always feel like like my day job is working in tech, right? Every every day we talk about AI and we talk about evolution of AI, how quickly tech is evolving, AI is evolving. But as a
yeah.
community builder, I feel like yes, we need to embrace AI. We need to use AI to help us speed up our work and be more efficient. But we also need, on the flip side, to encourage real human connection. What I'm trying to build here is also the realness, the real, things that can't be replaced by AI. The the small talks, for example, the the nuances between our conversation, the read between the lines, like all of that can't be replaced by AI. And I
Yes.
think that's so fundamentally important as humans. Oh,
Yes. Keep that connection and
yeah,
excitement and
exactly. And the awkwardness.
taste of life.
Yeah, and the awkwardness of
Yes.
like, oh, this is the
Awkwardness.
first time they were meeting, and like we're trying to do a small talk, and all of that feeling, the rawness of it, that can't be replaced by AI. So I think a part of me is like I'm embracing new technologies, but I'm also seeing what are the gaps that this new technology would bring us, and how can I myself and yourself, all of these community builders, come to realize that it is so much more important for communities and real human connections to exist, especially in this type of the technology.
Yes. Nurturing that. And I keep thinking, how can communities collaborate more? Because I know many community builders by now, and we're all doing our own thing because we have our finances. We need to take care, especially if we're putting all of our efforts, our time. We want to be able to grow financially, support ourselves, our family. But how can we come up with this deeper collaboration? This is something that I am all the time asking myself and wanting to also embody this with doing real things. So I'm going to be coming out of this thinking, what can we do together? We all have these different ideas. Yours is about connection, quirkiness, meeting, running, feeling safe, and a bunch of other things. And mine is around, okay, let's all be accepted as this family wherever we go and have doors open. And it's also around
Yeah,
safety, feeling that you'll be accepted, being accepted. And these are universal things that are important to everyone, especially like you said, in the age of AI, etc.
yeah,
So yeah, all right. This has been such a wonderful talk, and let's see what happens next.
yeah. It's like
Any last
if it
words?
open, always an
Yes.
open
That
book,
you,
right? And there's
yes.
always no last chapter because I really like this sort of. I didn't really know what I was walking into today, but that's also the beauty of things. Actually, I kind of read it like that, like without you sending me the questions that you're gonna ask beforehand, and like we don't like we met last week and we're like, okay, we're gonna talk soon, and then we just come to this like not really know what's gonna expect, and I really enjoy this conversation.
Thank you. Me too.
Yeah,
I'll see you on the other
I'll
side.
see you. Yeah.